Welcome back, everybody. This is League on Lock. My name is Eric, and you know, if you stop paying attention to the competitive scene after the World Championship in 2018, you would probably be absolutely flabbergasted to see the World finalists and Fnatic sitting at 1-5. Well, most of the world is also flabbergasted, even though they lost Caps and Nemesis comes in. There's still the huge question mark, what happened to this team and why are they struggling so almightily? If you look at the numbers here in 2019 compared to 2018, they are scary. 10th place for all these main categories for Fnatic so far, even though they are one game better than Rogue because they did manage to beat them in a kind of sad affair. But obviously, throughout the spring and summer split in 2018, those numbers specifically are just from the summer split for Fnatic on the left there. But they were dominant in both splits. It didn't matter what the meta was, even when Reckless had subbed himself out because of the mages in the bottom lane meta. Fnatic was still one of, if not the best team in Europe. They were the probably tied with G2 for best performing team at the World Championship, and then all of a sudden you make one roster move and you would think that Nemesis has been the main issue. You say, well, Caps is popping off on G2, so he clearly was the main force behind Fnatic, but there were games in 2018 where Caps did not perform well, and the rest of Fnatic stepped up in a big way, but that has not been the case whatsoever in 2019. Nemesis is not the main guy to blame here. You saw those numbers. The early game is the main culprit for Fnatic. They are just getting in these massive deficits where they have no chance of ever coming back from them. A lot of that is Broxa is just completely invisible in a lot of these games in the first 5 to 10 minutes where other junglers are there getting first blood. Broxa only has first blood in 1 of their 6 games, and you saw when he was smurfing at the World Championship, it was all pre-10 minutes where he was getting his laners ahead and just completely carrying the early game. We have not seen any of that here in 2019. Bwipo absorbed so much pressure in 2018, and I think he's still doing that here in 2019, but none of the other lanes are. Nemesis has not been a huge issue for Fnatic, but he is not nearly as aggressive as Cap, so he is not absorbing nearly as much pressure. Bwipo is playing a little bit disrespectful in that top lane and just really getting focused by opposing teams' junglers because he plays so aggressively and is the only lane on Fnatic to be doing that, so he gets punished and shut down in a lot of these games. The one game they did win against Rogue is when he really got rolling on that Urgot and carried a lot of those games. So yes, Nemesis is a lot more passive than Caps, which means more pressure on Bwipo. So maybe the bottom lane for Fnatic should be carrying because they spent a whole year playing together, did Reckless and Hylissang, but I don't think the meta right now for Reckless is great. He's not able to play. I think he actually has a narrower champion pool than a lot of people like to think. He's definitely more comfortable on the crit 80 carries than Lucian. Kai'Sa is never a pick that I think he's excelled on compared to a lot of these other champions. Thankfully for him, and probably thankfully for Fnatic, the 9.3 changes are going to help Fnatic more than any other team, I think, in the world. Getting these crit 80 carries back in the hands of Reckless should help them here in the last 5-6 splits for the LEC, because they need to get going right now if they want hopes of making playoffs and making some noise in the playoffs. Reckless and Hylissang have just looked out of sorts. They're dying 2v2 to what should be lesser bottom lanes, and the craziest stat for Reckless is he has 18 deaths through 6 games, which, you know, 3 deaths a game doesn't sound that insane, maybe a little bit high for an 80 carry, but in 2018 spring and summer combined, he had 21 deaths total, 3 more deaths than he has right now through 6 games, which is absolutely insane, and really more so a testament to how incredible he was throughout 2018, but clearly not playing at that same level, and they haven't been nearly as dominant in that bottom lane. We haven't seen Hylissang roaming nearly as much, which means they're just kind of stuck in the bottom lane, and other jungler and supports are just completely dominating the map. So there are tons of issues for Fnatic to fix if they want to get back to being contenders. That's all the time today for League Unlocked. My name's Eric. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.